Greetings from WBCS Neo. Right, today we are going to talk about the infamous cookie file. Okay, we'll explain what cookies are. I've got a nice little example I've knocked up on my website. We're going to go through them. The myth is cookies are the worst thing on the planet. Blah blah blah. They're really scary things. They're going to get hackers into your computer and store loads of valuable information and stuff like that. A lot of it is complete and utter tosh. Okay, Chinese whispers spread by idiots who actually really don't know much about the internet and how it works. Okay, so I'm going to try to open your eyes a little bit and explain why this tosh gets generated and where the scaremongering comes from. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to show you what a cookie does first. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my browser here. Okay, so we've got my browser and this is my little cookie example page. Okay, basically what this page does is it shows you information based on what is in a cookie. Okay, so at the moment, as you can see here, current login details none. Okay, that means there is no cookie on the system for my computer, for my website, which I can verify by going into settings. You want to keep this page open on a separate tab if you can, which it opens anyway. Okay, if you go to privacy and security in Google Chrome and then come to cookies and other site data and scroll down, and you can see all cookies on your computer. Okay, now what used to happen in the past was like Internet Explorer, prime example why it's not used anymore, would store independent files for cookies. Okay, you would have a cookies folder full of these cookies. However, what generally happened was a lot of them depend on your browser and stuff. If you sort of reset the browser and stuff, it wouldn't necessarily delete the cookies anymore, so it would slowly but gradually fill up your cookies folder for the cookie files. Okay, nowadays Google Chrome is really cool. Most browsers, Firefox and everything, do it the same way as well, and they don't have separate little files on the drive. What they have is a database of files, so it's a database of information of separate files, if that makes sense. Imagine a filing cabinet with one document with all the information stored on it, but it's all encrypted. Okay, so we'll say that now everything is encrypted in Chrome. Okay, so Chrome encrypts that file and the website's generally encrypted. In this example, in my example for the website, my cookie is not encrypted. It's just to show you what it can store. Okay, so if I look in here now for my website, so if I just look up WBCS, there's no site comes up. Okay, if we flick back to the site and we log in, and we'll just put in WBCS, whoops, CS, yep. Okay, and we log in. So what the login button does is creates the cookie, okay, and sends that username into the cookie file or into the database if you're using Google Chrome. Okay, so now you've seen the current login change to WBCS Neo, and it actually greets me, says hi WBCS Neo, and it explains what's happened. So I've currently created a cookie. So if I go back to the cookie settings, okay, and if I refresh this page, you will see my website comes up. Okay, and there's one cookie in regards to this web page. Okay, now if we click on this and then we'll expand it, there isn't a reference title to this one, just because it's an example one, but sometimes you get a reference title above here and stuff. Yeah, so what we've got is it shows me the contents. Okay, that's the raw contents because I haven't encrypted it via the website coding, as it were. Okay, now this is where we're going to clear up a lot of the misconceptions about cookies. People think if you can get to this point you can read the information. Okay, and what we'll show you is it's complete shit. Okay, I don't care about swearing because I'm sick of trying to deal with people who think they know it all and know nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a website that I am not interested in at all. Let's have a look. Has this got any information in it? It hasn't. This is a typical local storage. Yeah, there's nothing in that one. Variant. Here we go. Right, here's a prime example. So this one here, you see this content here. Now this content is encrypted. Okay, so you don't know what it is, because I haven't got a bloody clue. So you would have to reverse engineer this. Okay, I don't know even what this website is. This is a third party website by the looks of it. So this is a cookie generated from third party advertising or something on some website somewhere. So it's one of those cookies I could just delete if I wanted to. Okay, and that's where I'm going to get to now, is all these cookies, like BT for example, I've got here from an old thing. I have got Virgin Media, Macworld. Oh my god, I think I'll delete that one. Prime example. Okay, Microsoft and stuff. All these will have my login details, but they are all encrypted. So you'd have to reverse engineer them. Okay, there's probably people out there who can reverse engineer it. That's why I'm not going to show it. But the only people who would see this is someone on your computer or remotely accessing these on your computer. Okay, and they would have to know where to look, and they would have to be able to reverse engineer it all. Okay, it's too much hassle. Most people will not bother doing that. So this is where people say, oh, if they get a hold of your cookies, they can hack you and stuff like that. They probably could, but it's too much hassle to do it. It's much easier to get dodgy advertising on a web page somewhere that downloads something to your computer. It's much easier to install malware than it is to hack a cookie. Okay, so getting back to the cookies. So we'll keep that open for the minute. So you've got this cookie here. My cookie in this case is what's called a session cookie, which basically means is whilst this browser's open, it will keep that cookie active. Okay, if I close Google Chrome down, it will delete that cookie for me automatically, and it won't be there when I go back in, so I'll have to log back into my website again. Okay, it won't exist. In this case, my website gives you this option to log out and delete cookie, but basically I could have just put log out there, but it explains what it does. So what it does is it sets a time and date before today. Most people, as a rule, we would normally put like the 1st of January, or the 1st of January 1970, for example. We know it's going to expire the cookie, so if it's out of date, it deletes instantly. So that's what that does. Sets a date, deletes it. So now I'm going details. If we come back here, okay, and we do cookies on the site data. What am I doing? Go back to see cookies, and if I look for WBCS now, not there, gone. Okay, because that has deleted it when I clicked on that logout button. That was a delete command basically. So there you go. That's a session cookie. I could have just closed the browser and reopened it and showed you, and it would have been gone. Okay. The other forms of cookies are other types of timeout cookies, which are really good. Banks use a mixture of cookies, and they will have a long-term storage cookie, which is what most websites have. Okay, so if you have, say for example, you go to Yahoo, for example, and it's got that little tick box in, always remember my login details. Tick. What that does is it generates a cookie which is encrypted, scrambles your username and password details, sticks it in a cookie that doesn't expire for a long period of time. Sometimes some websites will check when the last time it was accessed and might do a security check to make sure it's you again. So if you don't use that cookie within a month, it'll probably ask you to log back in again. Okay. Most cookies on computers will expire after a year or 2 years. Okay, that's any cookie just about. Okay, especially third party ones, because they want to try to keep that information coming in from that cookie. So this comes to the next point of why should we delete cookies? The answer is there is absolutely no bloody reason at all to delete cookies. Okay, it's quite simple. Cookies are there to help you. If you disable cookies altogether, most websites on the planet will cease to work. Okay, they rely on you, or will badger you to enable them. Okay, because they rely on that cookie to keep the website running. Okay, so if you jump from one page to another, it relies on that cookie to provide a pass-through information to the next page, etc., etc. Most websites are written like that, and that's the way the cookies are handled, and it provides security in that respect as well. Banks, they have multiple cookies involved in the security system. So you'll have one which might store your initial login, so which might be a big long reference number, which is like 15 characters. You don't want to be punching that big boy every time you log into the bank. So they give you the option to recall that, okay, in a cookie. That one is completely harmless. It doesn't have anything really to do with the security protocols of the bank. That is just a reference to say it's you. Okay. From there, you will end up going to another cookie area where it will ask you certain parts of your main login, your main password, or your secret answer, as it were, which is usually, it asks you like 3 characters from the password, you know, for the first one, the second one, and the last one, for example. That is then stored in a timeout cookie, and I'll explain what that is in a minute. And that is accessible for usually for about 10 minutes. Okay, if you don't use the website for 10 minutes and that cookie deletes, it then tells the website, or the website looks for it, has a timing counter on it. Okay, and when it doesn't see that cookie anymore, it will take you to a logout page where it tells you it's logged out for your benefit. Okay, it keeps you safe, and that's a cookie that keeps you safe. People have been telling you that cookies are dangerous, but it's a cookie that keeps you from, say, if you're using an internet cafe computer, which you're stupid to log into a bank in an internet cafe computer, but hey ho, if you used that and you went away, you know, or didn't use that page for 10 minutes and you forgot and you decided to walk away, the chances are the bank has already signed you out after 10 minutes anyway. So as long as nobody else nips on that computer within a 10-minute window and sees you're still logged in, you're okay. Okay. They might have shortened the cookie time on that now, they may have done it down to 5 minutes, but usually as a rule it's 10 minutes. Okay. All banks do that. Okay, across the board, it's a security feature that keeps you safe and it stops them getting into trouble. Okay, and having to give money out that doesn't belong to them, basically. Okay, so there you go. So the timeout cookies basically expire after a certain period of time. Most cookies, like I said earlier, will probably expire after a year or 2 years, which are not important cookies. They are just information gatherers. Third-party cookies, for example, usually expire 1 or 2 years down the line automatically. Okay. When it comes to Chrome, it doesn't. I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier in the video. It doesn't store separate little cookies. Okay, even though it lists separate cookies. When you go to in settings and cookies, you come back to here for get rid of the search criteria, and you get a list of cookies. They are in individual files on the computer somewhere. They are in a big giant encrypted database. So even though I can see these, if I was to look into the file, I wouldn't know what they were. It's a mishmash in the actual database. You have to use database software to decrypt that and then decrypt the cookie information within it. Again, not worth trying to even get a hold of that file because it's just too much hassle to try again into a computer in the first place, take control of it, and get that file. Okay. So there you have it. I'm just going to have a quick cup of coffee. So that's cookies generally. We'll move on to security systems. Like, here we go. I'm going to get slated. You got Norton, McAfee, Kaspersky. Some of the main ones. Okay. What's the other ones? I'm trying to think of the other ones off the top of my head. Security suites, as a rule, will come up flashing notifications saying, oh, you've got such and such cookies and blah blah blah, and these are unsafe and they are making your system vulnerable. It is all horseshit. Okay, complete horseshit. These cookies are not making your system, open to attack. Absolute bullshit. What it is it's scaremongering made by these companies to try to keep you using their software and paying for their third-party rubbish. Fact of the matter is, nowadays viruses are virtually unheard of. Okay, they're not something you see on a daily. Like I used to see viruses all the time 15 years ago, quite regularly. Now I can't remember the last time I seen a virus. Can't remember the last time I recall seeing a virus on a computer. Okay. The new toy now is malware, malicious software, which is installed via advertising on websites most likely. And what I will say now is third-party security suites are not there to protect you from the internet. They're not there to protect you from hackers, not there to protect you from viruses as such. They don't protect you against malware because virtually none of them do any form of malware protection. The key thing they protect you from is you as the user. You are the one who pushes the button. You are the one who decides to click on an advert. You are the one who decides to go to a web page. You are the one who decides to turn the computer on and connect to the internet. You are your own security risk. Third-party security software is just there in case you cock up. That's basically what it's there for. Okay. So with that in mind, be very wary about which software you decide to purchase, because to be fair, 50 quid a year for a piece of software that's literally just sitting on your computer doing pretty much nothing other than scaring the crap out of you isn't worth paying for. Okay, there is good alternative free little ones there. Yes, they are a bit naggy and try to sneak a little bit of stuff on your computer, like additional software it thinks that you should really use. Just say no to it all. Basically ignore anything that comes up. It's just trying to get you to buy something. Okay, because obviously you've got it for free. They don't want you to have it for free. They will nag you and say you're vulnerable by not having this bit of software. The only thing I would suggest is have a good anti-malware on there. Malwarebytes free edition, more than enough. Run it once a week, champion. Ad blockers. uBlock Origin, one of the best, if not the best, ad blockers on the planet. Raymond Hill, I think it is, who makes that, or Go Hill, I think he goes under. Brilliant bloke, well done. Keep up the good work. I think I've contributed to his funding at some point. He doesn't ask for anything, but if you've got a bit of dosh here and there, he's got the option to give him, a little bit of credit. Give him it. He's done a really good job for that. It's a cracking bit of kit for something that's free on all browsers, pretty much. Okay, getting back to the cookies. Should you delete cookies? No, don't delete cookies. Imagine if you delete cookies every time you finished on a browser, okay, and then having to go back on a browser and type all the logins again. Say if you're a business and you, I don't know, we'll use Fox Hunters Tires for an example. Okay, Fox Hunters Tires might log into 10 tyre companies to get their tyres. Okay, so they will have 10 logins to type and log into. Okay, now if you did that on an hourly basis, say if you did all that, shut the browser down or restart the computer or whatever, you have to do that every time. You don't want to be doing that. So why delete the cookies? The cookies get updated every time you log into the website. Okay, it's constantly updated. Okay, so don't worry about cookies. They don't take up a lot of space. If we were to compare a cookie to, I don't know, an audio file, an MP3 file, on average, from, if you were to get them from somewhere like YouTube or something like that, generally you're looking about 3 megabytes for a MP3 file. That's 3 million bytes. Okay, compare that to a cookie file, which can be anything from about 50 bytes. Yeah, that's how small it can be. 50 bytes, 3 million bytes, 50 bytes. That's a big difference. Okay, some are 1 kilobyte, depending on how much information they have to store about the website. Okay, or for your general login. So you can imagine how many cookies you can get in the space of one soundtrack. That's a lot of files. So, and like I was saying before, Chrome doesn't do that anyway. It stores everything in a database, so you haven't got lots of micro files all over the hard drive, which can cause problems for fragmentation stuff if you're using older drives. Not so bad on SSDs, the newer digital drives, but older drives might chug around looking for those files if they were still doing that, and that's why browsers have moved on to having all the cookies stored or cookie data stored in a virtual database, because that file can stay quite intact and the space system works better, and it can be fully encrypted. Okay, whereas so you've got encrypted cookies within an encrypted database. It keeps you very safe. So there you go, that's the truth about cookies. I hope it wasn't too long-winded for you, but I hope you understand that cookies are not dangerous. So if some plonker comes up and says, oh, are you one of these people who deletes cookies because I think it's a really good idea, just tell them they're idiots. Honestly, swear down, tell them they're idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. Most security systems, like banks, going back to the bank system, they use a handful of cookies and they all work together to ensure the website's safe. So if one of those cookies doesn't exist, it's a group sort of arrangement. If one of those comes out of the group, it won't work and it'll ask you to log in again. Okay, it'll time the website out, or it'll just not let you in. If one of those cookies doesn't match up, that's it, game over. All those cookies have to be present for the bank to work. Okay, so that's why you don't block certain third-party ones, because they all work together. So there you go. So have a nice time, keep yourself safe. If you've got any queries or if you want to comment, please hide a comment below and I'll see what I can reply with. Okay, until the next time, see you later.